Well, James, it's lovely to speak to you today. Thank you so much for coming in and talking. And of course, we can get into all things family and business. It's my two absolute favorite topics combined. So it's wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Feel free to tell us more about yourself and the ONLE Network and what it is that you do.
And I suppose you want the setup, don't you? The family bit's quite important, isn't it?
Sure. Tell me everything.
I'll give you the potted history. So me, James, I was a journalist. I moved into running my own business. Networking was absolutely fundamental to everything
Mm,
that I did in business. I don't know what I would have done without it. I would have sat on a
mm.
computer floundering,
Yeah,
lonely, earning money. It never would have gone anywhere.
yeah.
The isolation, you don't you don't really
Mm,
learn or develop as a business
mm.
owner if you just sit on your own at a computer, which I
Yes.
think is probably a bigger problem than ever.
Yeah, so true.
So networking, huge lifeline for me,
Mm,
and that then led me. I actually met my wife at a networking event, and we love networking. We grew our businesses through networking, myself and
mm,
Kelly. But we always had this thought of we're building websites, it earns us money, but we're not
okay.
particularly fulfilled. It doesn't light us up.
Okay.
Whereas networking is what we loved, and we just
Yeah.
kind of idly said, should we set up a network? Well, why don't we set up a network that we would like to
Oh,
attend that
yes.
sits somewhere between the formality of BNI that does work? You
Mm,
know, it worked well for us.
mm,
But could we get the same result with a little bit of a softer edge? So,
mm,
I'm using my hands. You won't see this on the
mm.
podcast, but
Yeah, yeah.
at one end of the scale, you've got the glorified coffee morning socials, which are quite
Mm,
nice.
mm,
They're not
mm,
particularly productive in terms of business outcomes.
mm.
They're good for business
Yeah.
support, not
Mm,
great for business outcome. Then you got the formalized networking at the other end of the scale, which is great for
mm,
result, but
mm.
it takes a toll, and you've got
Yeah,
to kind of play the game as
yeah,
prescribed.
yeah.
It doesn't account for the human being. You better not have an off day or an off week, and
Mm,
you can't have a day off. And
yeah.
it also doesn't care that you might have caring responsibilities, children,
Mm,
other
mm.
issues. So myself and Kelly said, let's set up a network that meets in the middle. We call
Yes.
ourselves the network for people who like people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there we go. That's me.
Yeah, yeah. And it absolutely is the network for people who like people, because that's why I'm in the network. Like, here we are, I'm totally in the network. And I absolutely love it that sometimes I hear from yourself, sometimes it's Kelly, sometimes it's Kierney. So it is a family vibe of like people who care. It really
I'm
is.
glad. I'm glad you hear that. And you can fall into the trap of platitudes, Lily, can't you? You can kind of say,
Mm,
oh, and you hear these sort of cliched terms all the time from businesses. We're a family business and we care
mm,
about our customers, but it's
yeah,
what you actually have in a
yes.
structural way and how you behave on a
Mm,
daily basis that defines whether that is a platitude
mm,
or a
mm,
reality.
yeah.
So the culture of only, let's lead with the relationship, not selling at each other.
Mm, mm,
Let's not give you the illusion that just by virtue of being in a network, suddenly you're going to
you
get
get it.
business, because
Yeah.
that's a false promise.
Yeah.
You know, the notion of kind of category lockout in networking
Mm,
that, well, you're going to lock out your competitor. I don't know how you lock out
mm,
competitors since the
sure.
internet was created.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's just be honest about, but
Yeah.
we know from our experience that all good, particularly business to business
Mm,
being passed,
mm,
it always starts with a relationship.
mm,
It
yeah.
doesn't start with a transaction, because
Yeah.
I know 100 web designers. Why am I going to
Mm,
work with you? Or why am I going to
mm,
work with you to develop my
yeah.
LinkedIn? It's because I like you, I get you, I resonate with
Mm,
you.
mm,
So our contention was, let's just flip it. Let's start
right.
with let the relationship be the point.
Mm,
And by the way, you're not going to get on with everyone. That's also
sure.
normal and human
Mm,
nature.
yeah.
But again, we're not going to force it. So you have to work with that web designer because they happen to
Mm,
be in your networking group.
right.
And
Mm,
also the culture of, we understand that you've got a life. Well, that's driven by the fact that
mm,
we've got a life. We've got a daughter with special needs. and we can't always drop what
Mm.
we're doing and go to a
Mm.
meeting at 6:30 in the morning anymore
Sure.
because life doesn't allow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've built a network. It's partly why we're fully online, because
Mm.
it's the only way you're not going to exclude people.
Right.
We run the meetings at friendly times, 9:30, 10 o'clock. So if you've got
Mm.
children, you can do a school run.
Yeah.
You are not excluded from networking
Yeah.
because of your circumstances. So all
Mm.
the stuff that you're describing, and it's great, Lily, that you feel that way,
Mm. Mm.
it's by design. It's a
Yeah.
culture based
Yeah.
on real people, us.
Yeah.
What kind of networking do we want to attend?
You would do. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely feels it. I think it's I really hear that it's built on that foundation of the values of relationship, and then it starts up from there. I really want to talk more about relationships and how that's managed in your business. You also touch on the family business kind of notion. Some people will say we're a family business, and what does that mean? Because of course I talk about this all the time. I actually did a presentation last Wednesday, and this was really at the heart of it, of what does it mean to be a family business? Because of course some businesses will have a very strong family ethos, which I think is fab, and they might call themselves a family business, which is definitely something different to what HMRC is going to categorize as a family business. So, what does family business mean to you?
Well, I don't know about any of that stuff. I mean, what you're
Okay.
saying about the HMRC, I'd like you to
Okay.
tell me, because
Okay.
tell me first, actually.
Sure. So the sort of classic definition, it's not so much a legal definition, but if you go to family business research institutions, like the academic bodies that will publish and do research on family businesses, which there are plenty, there we have a lot, because family businesses are very much studied, because it covers so many different dynamics. It's a very interesting place to be. These places would define a family business where you have an organization, a business, or an enterprise whereby the majority of the decision making rights are held within a family. And that is very important detail for a family and for a business. So I suppose by definition, the only network, but by definition of what these kind of research places would they would categorize, only is a family business
Okay.
in that sense.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I wouldn't have cared if we weren't, because we
Okay.
are.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, isn't it, that, that is such a subject of fascination. What's the thinking there that we want to understand? What is this, a force for good? Is it we want to understand the dynamic, or what? Why is there so much thought put
Okay.
into this?
Into family businesses.
Yeah.
I suppose because a family, from a business perspective, being owned or being operated by a family would change the dynamic of a business. And having a business as part of a family is going to change the dynamic of a family. So it is its own separate third entity, which truly impacts everything that it touches. Um, yes, I mean, I think that there, even as I say now, I think there will be some families that will say the business is very well boundaried and, severed in the middle, which if that works, but grand, like no real opinion attached. But they influence each other, and it's a moving cog.
Yeah, I think that's just running a business in general, isn't it? I mean, this whole notion
Mm,
of I know a couple in business who said, for example, their boundary was they wouldn't talk about work after a certain time of day,
okay.
which is, if that's what works for them, that's fine. We've never
Mm,
particularly done that. I think we kind of naturally fall into
mm,
this is work time, this is not work time. But,
mm,
if something comes up,
sure.
and it's not that
Speak
often,
about
why
it.
wouldn't you have a
Mm,
conversation about it?
mm, mm,
Because it's part of your life, isn't it? It's a
mm,
huge core part of your life. And I think,
mm,
particularly with us, and I'll just explain the structure. So myself and Kelly, our husband and wife, we are the owners of Only Networking, Our eldest daughter works for us, Kierney. I know you know Kierney.
Really?
She's as important as us two in terms of,
Mm.
making things happen, decision making. And then we've got two other staff, Elsie and Izzy, who aren't family, but, they are the kind of people that fit
They
perfectly
fit.
into
They
that
do.
dynamic.
They do.
And then obviously we've got 390 members, and we've got various hosts and franchisors, etc. But all that structure is in service of our lives and the network's well-being, but also to facilitate us being able to fit around our younger daughter who's special needs. So she's 18.
Right.
Her mental age is more like a 2-year-old, so she's got
Okay.
limited understanding, can't look after herself,
Okay.
needs a lot of support, a lot of care. So the whole thing is by definition driven by that dynamic. Where would you park it? Where are the lines drawn? And I
Okay.
think I'm
Yes.
thinking of what Kelly would say now. Like, if you, I don't love that whole, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Like, really? Like,
Yeah.
if it
It's
weren't,
work.
if there wasn't parts of it that were a bit of a slog,
Yeah.
like, you wouldn't probably get paid, would you?
Sure. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
But if your motivation is everything in your life, can we build this to a point where we can go on holiday together? Can we build this to a point
Yeah.
where it doesn't require us to be there every single day, so we can go and do stuff with as a family, and including our younger daughter as well? That's a worthy thing, isn't it? That, does it work by default? Absolutely not. And I suppose we're going to probably
Yeah.
talk about,
Sure.
the dynamic, haven't we? And I can understand why it causes damages for families.
Sure.
And I'd say that's the first thing. Have you got a shared objective in terms of what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this quality of life now with building a pathway to a better future and working around limitations? That's us.
Yeah.
But all of us are going in the same direction. Whereas if you're a family and one of you, I've seen this as well, one of you wants one thing, one of you wants to kind of live and breathe business and build it to a high level, and one of you just wants to be self-employed and not have the hassle of the thing that they used to do.
Yeah.
Well, immediately you're
Huge.
gonna
Yeah.
feel friction. I suppose you see that
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
in the work that you do.
Absolutely.
How
Yeah.
do you break that to people, to tell them, look, you're going to struggle here because you're not on the same page?
Yeah, definitely. I think in my job, I'm not the person to break it because my clients would come to me once they know like that this is they've got a pain point now. And they know that not all of my clients, because I do get some very proactive people that don't see these enormous rifts and kind of craters that go into the family and the business. But it is absolutely a huge part of what you say now about when people are misaligned and they literally go in opposite directions, then yeah, now we have a situation and it's going to get damaging. Particularly for family businesses where you might have two brothers or two cousins or something like that that were not two very different people, even though they were born into the same family. So different visions and values for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different life stages, there's a lot to consider, isn't there? In terms of making that harmonious. I think there's two other things that are really important for a family business to work together. Is one's more practical, one's about having a role that's yours and works for you. And we found, me and Kelly started working together first, and then Kierney came along a little bit later. But we found very early on that we complement each other in terms of that we're opposites in work terms. So I'm very much a detail person. I like to get my head into projects. I like to see them through to conclusion. I don't like to launch things half baked.
Okay.
I'm your kind of stickler. I'm your critical thinker. So if you threw an idea at me, unfortunately, I would see the downside or the potential pitfall, which you need. You absolutely need that in
Mm.
business.
Yeah.
But if that's all you get, you
Sure.
end up negative, you
Yeah.
end up with negative
Mm.
friction, you end up never actually developing
Mm.
anything.
Mm.
So on the other end of the scale, you've got Kelly, who's more, what was it that Iriel was saying? So you're either a founder, which is a
Okay.
doer,
Mm.
executor, dot the I's, cross the
Mm.
T's. That's me. I'm there
Okay.
for the long haul. I
Mm-hmm.
know we've got to keep going, we've got to keep
Mm.
iterating,
Yeah.
and eventually,
Mm.
imperceptibly sometimes,
Mm.
the flywheel starts to turn,
Okay.
but you still got to keep working at it to hone
Mm.
it, to refine
Sure.
it, and then you just
Sure.
keep moving up plateaus. Well, you need founders in businesses. Kelly's an entrepreneur. It's all about
Okay.
the latest idea, what's the cool thing that we
Okay.
can do. But
Yeah.
and entrepreneurs are not very good, and I'm talking broad strokes
Sure.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope I'm not offending anyone, but they're not so good at seeing things through,
Mm.
getting to the
Mm.
end,
Mm.
working on the fine detail because they get bored. That's not
Mm.
where their energy
Sure.
works.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
with
that's fine.
you.
Don't
Mm.
have two people that are the same. Have two
Mm.
people that are opposites, and then work
Yeah.
out. Do you know what? We're not going to try and
Mm.
put you in that space, Kelly,
Mm.
any more than
Yeah.
we're going to try and put me in that space.
Yeah.
Let's have our roles and do what we're best at. So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think for businesses that don't
Mm.
have that, I've kind of combined the two. There's a kind of practical
Mm. Mm.
element, but there's also, I think, an energetic
Sure.
balance that you need in a
Yeah.
business.
Yes.
And then Kierney is remarkably somewhere in between both of us.
Okay.
So she sits nicely into the space with me. She likes getting things done
Mm.
properly.
Mm.
But she's got more of the positivity and kind of let's give it a go attitude
Sure.
that
Sure.
Kelly's got. And that's a beautiful bridge because
Mm.
sometimes she'll side with me and say,
Okay.
Mum, no, we do need to get that done before we move
Mm.
on to the next thing. But
Okay.
on other times when I'm stomping around because things aren't going quite as well, she's very much,
Yeah.
no, come on,
It's
let's get
good.
perspective here.
Yeah.
Things are
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
And again, it's about creating that dynamic where
Mm.
you're not, you
Mm.
know your roles, you're not treading on each other's toes, and you
Mm.
complement rather than getting each other's way.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you had
I'm with you.
similar experiences from your family business?
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Big time. I think, I mean, it's one of the reasons I think that my own family business that I was a part of it didn't last. Let's just say it did not
Okay.
last. And there's a huge story in that. But I really hear you about the different roles. And do you reckon that for your family, with only that you knew that this was a strength about people's strengths and what you had, and you could combine it? Do you reckon that was a big reason why you went into business together? Were you aware of this?
No, not at
No.
all. Do you know the real reason me and Kelly started a business together? It's
I think I know this, but I want you to say it again.
there's no strategy or any intelligent thought that went into it. We met
Mhm.
reasonably late in life. I was nearly 40. We'd both had relationships that had gone bad. And we met, and it was like the thunderbolt, the clouds parted. And it's like, that's what it's meant to be like. That's why it's not worked out.
Okay.
And that was on pretty much day one that we got
Mm.
together, and we knew
Yes.
this is where we should be. Where have you
Mm.
been? It was that kind of idea. So the driving force was we just want to spend more time together. And Kelly was in a bit of limbo with her work. I was doing sort of freelance writing and a bit of web development. I had
Mm.
a guy that was building websites for me,
Mm.
but I didn't really understand the technical side of it. I was customer facing. It was a nightmare because I'd be going
Mm.
back to him and saying, he was
Mm.
brilliant, but I'd be going, can you do this? And then he'd explain in a techie way why I'd no. And then
Okay.
I've got to go back and try and deal with the client.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was hard work.
Okay.
We work, and this is probably another thing as well. Do you work at the same time scales as the people in your
Mm.
family? We're early
Yeah.
birds. Like for us, an optimal work
Okay.
day is get up early, get going,
Okay. Yeah.
do what you need to do.
Mm.
Don't expect much from us after 4 p.m.
Okay. Got you. Yeah.
I suppose you could make it work if you had a business that needed um, kind of boots on the ground to cover a wider
Mm.
kind of time
Mm.
period. You could be one
Yeah.
would be the early shift, I suppose, and
Yeah.
the
Sure.
late shift. But again, I think you've got to be
Mm.
careful then that you don't end up
Mm.
feeling a little bit isolated,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
working along the same terms. So yeah, that's why
Mm.
we started working together. And it wasn't until I think we started to realise quite early on that we were very different in the way that we worked,
Mm.
but that
Okay.
um, I needed that get up and go energy to pick me
Okay.
up, to
Mm.
get me motivated,
To do it.
um, and
Yeah.
Kelly needed the detail person.
Okay. Yeah. Got you. It sounds like though it's slotted into place really quite smoothly. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Wonderful. He's a big investor, Shark Tank, huge entrepreneur and investor with a lot of influence.
Sounds like a
And
wrestler's name.
Mr.
Sorry, Mr.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, if
Okay,
I've just
sure.
disrespected you.
His name is Kevin O'Leary. I actually have to
Okay.
say it. His name's Kevin O'Leary. I think it is. Shucks. Now I might get that wrong. But he's known as Mr. Wonderful. And I mention this because he does a good job of kind of warning everybody away from family businesses. He kind of says, never, ever, ever, ever get into business with your family. And because he's got so much influence, people believe him. And
Wow.
of course, there's me. I'm like, right, I'm going to hear everything he has to say. I want to know what's this about? Why is it in for him? And he kind of makes the point that if your family is not strong, then your business isn't going to be strong. And I think, okay, I actually can't disagree with that. Like that's a fair point. I think he does make the point that kind of all families are rocky, which of course it's not, nor is that 100% wrong. But then that's why family businesses don't work. But it sounds as though when you say that when you met Kelly and it was just that lightning bolt of like, yes, we are very strong together and we really like each other, then the business has got a really great chance of working. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to kind of challenge what he's saying
I
too much because
apologize.
obviously it's sort of
Mm,
third-hand information, isn't it? But if I
sure.
take at
Mm,
face value what you're telling me and what he's saying, I understand the
mm,
principle,
me too.
but that doesn't mean that that's a given, does it? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
his issue there, and that makes sense. If you've got a rocky family foundation, the
Mm,
business is going to shake it. It's like having a
yeah.
baby because you think it's going to save your relationship,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
All it's going to do is probably exacerbate the
Yeah.
pressures and the weaknesses in the
Yes.
process. So,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, I don't. I suppose it probably has created problems for
mm,
people, and
mm.
I understand that. But I also think you're overlooking some of the advantages of it.
Mm, yes, let's talk about that. All
Well,
the advantages.
it's the collective goal is implicit, isn't it? That
Mm,
you know, all right, go and employ a load of people, but they're not going to
mm,
be as
yeah,
bothered about
sure. Yeah,
your goal as a business and you as individuals. We
yes.
can mold only, as long as it's
Mm,
mostly driven by what the members want.
mm.
Everything else can be molded the way
Yours.
that we need it and want it to be as a business.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's an enhancer, isn't it? Because,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
if families are kind of off doing their own thing and life's hard, isn't it? Earning money
mm,
is difficult. We put a
mm.
lot of time and effort
Yeah.
into doing it.
Mm,
We had our Christmas party last night and we all went out and went to the
mm.
Luke Combs tribute and we ate American food and it's us. It's what we like to do.
Okay. The family.
Um, and you get a collective sense of, yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing that as a family. So I think for us,
Mm,
it's made our family, it's kept us closer together
mm,
as opposed
mm.
to, well, no, because
Like,
family dynamics are difficult in business. Let's go
yeah,
off and do our
yeah,
own separate thing. Like
yeah.
me and Kelly, for example, don't operate better apart. We're
Okay.
not together like
Yeah.
20, well, we are pretty much together 24/7, but,
Yeah.
we do have
Mm,
little things that happen in life where we'll be
Mm,
apart for a day or a couple of
yeah.
days, but it's not very often because we're
Mm,
happier and
mm,
better
together.
together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that, I
Yeah.
don't suppose that gets talked about enough, is it? The positive.
No.
What else do you see? Other positive.
Positives. I think when people, exactly as you say, like when people are very much on the same page, like,
Mm,
tight together of what they want the business to achieve and where it's going, and the lines between family and business, even if that's a squiggly line, then I think it's got a really, really strong foundation of being, successful in whatever way that that means, particularly when people complement each other. And I think that that's a real advantage of a family business is when people complement each other, particularly when you know each other so well. Because I suppose if I was going to grab another founder or somebody to work with me, and it's a brand new person, now I also have to get to know this person and talk about it all. When if you're in whatever age with your family, you just meet and but you come together as business people, but you already have all of the relationship and the trust. So from a starting perspective, you could be decades ahead of the foundation. So
yeah, and let's do the flip of that kind of cynical family businesses don't work. You're going to end up
mm,
crumbling the family dynamic. Like
mm,
I'll give you the counter to that, and this is playing devil's advocate a little bit, but
sure.
there is. I think you would find it hard to disagree with this. That
Okay.
let's put two founders together that are mates or
Mm-hmm.
just have come together
Yeah.
whatever the circumstances to develop a
Mm,
business together. If you
mm, mm,
take, person A and person B,
mm,
who is person A's main loyalty to? Their own
mm.
family or founder B? Of
Yeah.
course, when push comes to shove, unless
Yeah.
there's something seriously wrong in founder A's life,
Yeah.
their main driver is providing for their family and the people closest to them. And they
Yeah.
may love founder B.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may have founder B's best interests at
Mm.
heart, but when push comes to shove,
Yeah. Yeah.
most people are going to
Mm.
opt
Mm.
for I want to look after
Family.
mine, the people closest to me, and founder B will
Yeah.
be exactly the same.
Yeah.
So that for me,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about a kind of ticking time bomb simmering
Yeah.
friction,
Yeah.
put two founders together that then make it,
Mm.
or
Mm.
things go wrong and neither of them want to take the fall,
Mm. Mm.
that's
What
probably more
happens?
likely to lead to some kind of catastrophic blow up.
Yeah.
Let's end up in court.
Yeah. 100%.
Whereas I think families typically are going to go, right, well,
Yeah.
as long as they're reasonably strong
Mm.
together, they're going to want to do what's in the interests of that
Mm.
family. And
Yeah.
there's no other third party that's got to be
Yeah.
considered.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I think you say it better than I could about founder A and founder B, working towards their separate families. I think this is even a thing for family businesses where you might get two people who aren't married, that they have their own separate families in the background, but nonetheless, they're still working towards the generational wealth of the extended family. So
Yes.
you could say there's a bit of a scale on how that works, but absolutely, absolutely. Um,
So, how much, Lily, is coachable and how much is in
mm,
just kind of innate qualities? So you obviously
mm,
work with a lot of family businesses. How
mm.
much of it is malleable,
Oh,
adjustable,
okay.
with understanding, and how much do you have to kind of go, look,
Mm,
fundamentally
yeah,
you don't quite
yeah.
align?
I think everything is malleable, and anything can happen. Like we could get in there and change as much, and this is the important part, as much as those people are willing to give and change.
Sure.
It's called technically it's called psychological readiness.
Okay.
So if someone were to come in with me, and of course this happens regularly, that I might get my small group of people or my family, the family business, and then say that there's five of them and four of them are ready and one of them's not, that will create difficulty.
Sure.
Particularly you've got that one person that's not willing to give. So now what happens? Now it could take much longer, or that would be a really individual case by case now.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I'd say it's all malleable to the extent
Because you're
that people are
right.
willing.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of it comes down to, yes, the immutable part of that equation is the ability to
Mhm.
change. I'm sure you get people to come to you, they're like, I don't really want to change anything, I just want it to work. And
Yeah.
you're on a
Yeah.
hiding to nothing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whereas, look at the roles thing. And I know we've battled with
Mhm.
this a little bit, particularly with Kelly having these extraordinary abilities, like as a people person, as a
Mm.
connector, as a communicator, as a
Mm.
force of
Mm.
positive energy.
Mm.
You know, what we've tried to do in the past is,
Mm.
and understandably, because there's a high workload, there's a lot of things that we got to kind of nail
Yeah.
in behind the scenes,
Mm.
process, back office,
Mm.
nuts and bolts kind of stuff.
Mm.
There's no point putting Kelly in that space
No,
because
just don't do it.
she'll get frustrated.
Yeah.
She can do it,
Yeah.
and we can, this is the point, isn't it? We can all force ourselves to do things,
Mm.
and we do sometimes have to do things that aren't
Mm.
in our natural sphere or take
Mm.
us out of our comfort zone. But what you've got to do is work out a way that that's the exception rather than the day-to-day
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
So what can we do to remove as much of that stuff where
Yeah.
Kelly doesn't operate well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how can we then make sure that she can shine and be what she's
Yeah.
best at? And
Yeah.
you have to compromise as a growing business
Yeah.
because of the reasons that I talked about. You sometimes have to do things that you don't want to do. Same as me, I'm in my best
Mm.
space
Mm.
when I can work on detail
Mm.
projects.
Mm.
Let's get it
Mm.
done really well.
Yeah.
And I love people, I love the human connection bit, but I have this
Mm.
sort of, I suppose it's just there's like a cut-off point where I'm like, enough
Mm.
now.
Yeah. I'm done.
I've got to step back. I've got to
Yeah.
put my headphones on, listen
Yeah.
to some music, get some
Yeah.
work done. See, even look at that,
Mhm.
like work done. I run a networking business,
Yeah. Oh,
yet the
yeah.
talking to people, because I enjoy it, I kind
Yeah.
of forget that that's
Yeah.
intrinsic
Okay.
to building a network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. No. I get it. And I think maybe the last point, for me, just to tag on then, um, when we speak about the change, I think even business over time is going to change. So I think even maybe one day Kelly or yourself would pick up a different skill, or something might happen, even if that's just like menopause or health, or just a difference in your likes and dislikes, then there's going to be a change. So I
Yes.
think it always shuffles, and people need to be flexible. And it's why I'm always delighted when I get people who are interested in working with me, who understand this and they're proactive, and they're like, come on board to help us develop and move through just the natural transitions. So I think that's important to add, just as I talk about psychological readiness and all that. It's
Yeah.
always moving.
Yes.
So, yeah.
How do you prepare people for that though? And because some people deal,
Mm,
I know I keep using our examples, but
yeah.
Kelly and Kierney, they are the most consistent people you'll ever meet in terms of emotional
Mm,
resonance.
yeah.
They're generally upbeat,
Mm,
to the point where if one of them's on a bit of on a down spiral, it's like, what's going on there then? Which
mm,
is really mean of me because I'm much more of a bouncing up and down
okay.
line,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I have
Me
bad
too.
days and and
Mm,
I'm trying to work on that to kind of smooth the curve because it's not
mm,
particularly helpful.
mm.
But yeah, how much of that can you work on versus how much do you just have to work
Oh,
around, I suppose.
oh, it's a great question. It's a great question. I I guess my first thought is I wouldn't want to say that either is better than the other.
I would. They're much better than me.
Yeah, okay. Okay, sure. I have to say, I'm a bit more spiky,
Okay,
and my partner's like Mr. Stable, like
okay,
Mr. Consistent, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stand next to that pillar.
yeah.
That's better. But then I think it would be a mistake to say that somebody like you and I, like this is bad, and that we would have to like be different and change. I'm not sure I'm comfortable to say that.
And I know there's instances as well where the and Kelly would definitely admit this, when you are that steady and
Yeah.
good at, and you're so resilient and you're good at
Mm.
absorbing, it
Mm.
can lead you into a space of
Mm. Yeah.
atrophy to, no, that's not what that means, is it? You can get
Mm.
stuck
Okay.
because what you then won't do is
Mm.
kind of spot when things aren't quite
Mm.
right. Like,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
this is the critical thinking thing, isn't it, that
Sure.
you've probably got too,
Sure.
that you go, you know, do we just keep
Mm.
motoring along thinking
Mm.
everything's fine because we
Yeah.
naturally flip and see the
Okay.
positive?
Okay. Yep.
But then do you miss the fact that actually
Mm.
that does need attention? That isn't, we shouldn't flip
Okay.
that because it's trying to tell us
Yeah.
that that
Yeah.
part of the business isn't quite working.
Yeah.
Or why
Yeah.
are we spending
Yeah.
half a day a week doing that? Well, it's fine. I can put up with that
Mm.
half a day a
Mm.
week.
Mm.
Whereas I'd be looking at that half a day a week and go,
Mm. We got a leak.
I could do a lot with half a day a
Mm.
week. What if
Mm.
that wasn't there, and what can I do to plug the
Okay.
leak, as you say?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, that's
Yeah.
that's one of those things where it's working that out, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 I think this stuff is great. Like I love this kind of thing of working with people, but also operations and how we're going to navigate that. I think here I am busy talking about myself, but working with family businesses, you're like it is like a perfect blend of all the skills and like everything that's needed to make this work. Um, so
Love it. You need to
yeah,
get Mr. Wonderful on your
I
show.
know. Me too. I totally agree. I'd love to speak to Mr. Wonderful. It's yeah.
I
Here
wonder
we
if
are.
he does that slightly exaggerated devil's advocate kind of
I
role for the
wonder.
TV. I would imagine
So
that a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people do that, don't they?
fair. I think he does have a bit of a point too. Like if people don't care about their families or they're estranged, say, you're like, yeah, don't start a business. Like, why on earth would you do that? So yeah, like yes. So
Yeah, I
mm,
definitely agree with that. But it doesn't mean
yeah,
it doesn't mean that that's an immutable
no,
outcome. I
yeah,
think as long as you understand that, don't be put
mm,
off by the idea, because in our example, when
mm,
it works, it's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love to hear it. Yes. This has been really interesting. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. You'll let me know if there's anything else that you want to add or like anything else.
No, it's just been good to talk about it because this stuff rattles around your head,
Oh,
doesn't it? And
yeah.
I hope it helps people that. I think you've got to be realistic, haven't you, Lily? That
Mm,
running a business as a family
yeah.
can be challenging, and it,
Yeah.
it will create things that the other scenarios won't do.
Mm,
But
mm,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
mm.
If you get
Yeah.
it right and understand what your strengths and weaknesses are and how you can complement each other, I
Mm.
think that's a wonderful place to be
Oh,
because you can
yeah.
trust each other, can't you? When you've got
Yeah.
implicit trust, there's never any consideration of have they got another agenda.
Okay.
What a nice
Okay.
space to just develop. Because right, and
Mm,
this is the other thing. Don't matter how you set up, whether you
mm,
partner with people, work on your own. It's hard. Like
mm.
this
Yeah.
notion that you just set up and work
Yeah.
3 days a week, and
Yeah.
it's
No,
rubbish.
it
It just
is.
it you if you've put the
Mm,
work in to
mm,
build the business that you can go and sit on the beach for 2 days a week, it's
mm.
because you've put the work in and you've built the
Exactly.
business, or you had so
Yeah.
much investment that you didn't really have to pay
Mm,
back that
mm.
it's kind of been done for you. But
Yeah.
I think
Never
for
easy.
most people, you're going to have
Yeah.
to graft, and
Yeah.
there's going to be times where you want to just throw it up in
Mm.
the air and walk out. Like,
Yes.
this is a nice reflection. We probably had that on a bi-monthly basis where one of us would go
Okay.
like, don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
as much as we
Mm,
loved what we were doing, we believed in it, we think we're providing a
mm,
true alternative to something that's really valuable but wasn't
mm,
accessible for various
mm,
reasons. So
mm,
we've always had that belief, but it's really difficult. And some days
mm.
you just want to run screaming down the street.
Yeah.
I'd
Hmm.
say in the last year, we've not really had that so much. You still have days where you think, oh, one step
Mm.
forward, one step back. But generally,
Yeah.
it's the flywheel thing is
Yeah.
turning now. So
Yeah.
now it's just right. Can we keep greasing it? Can we keep
No.
improving it? And we're
Yeah.
doing it together, and we're actually
Mm.
mostly enjoying it, which
Mm.
is it is worth persisting.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like every single business, family business or not, like got to keep going, and it's not easy. Like it is work, as you say. And I'm so pleased to know that your family business works well. And I'm really hearing it. One of the reasons in which it works well is because your relationship is really strong and you're on the same
Oh,
page and you understand what you're both good at and what you're not, and play to that. Like the roles and responsibilities are on point. Um, yes, ace.
absolutely. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank
It's
you.
been lovely talking, Lily.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you